I welcome you all to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. This is the only place in Uganda where you can see white rhinos in the wild on foot. Ziwa is found in the central region of the country, Uganda, Nakasongola district, Nakitoma sub-county.
Today we're at Ziwa Sanctuary, about less than 2 hours away from Kampala, where we've been multiplying the population of one of the big five, which is the rhino, the rhinoceros. And it gives me extreme pleasure to see that the work that we started all the way back in the 2000s is now starting to bear fruit.
We are privileged to host the British High Commissioner to Uganda, who has come here to join hands with us in this campaign of Name and Save the Rhino, which is a national campaign for this country. She's here to see the rhinos to be named, the juveniles, and really support of other colleagues and friends from the world to be able to come and join the campaign. So it's a great campaign that we are having. The Minister of Tourism working with the Uganda Tourism Board and working with the Uganda Wildlife Authority and the private sector, including you, the Fourth Estate. And we want to appreciate you so much. So it's a great day. The Name and Save the Rhino campaign is aimed at raising funds to support rhino conservation in Uganda. At the moment we have 48 rhinos here in Ziwa, but we are going to reduce the numbers. We are actually taking 20 rhinos to Uganda Wildlife Reserve, and 28 rhinos will remain here.
This place started by 2005 after the construction of an electric fence. Though many years ago we used to have over hundreds of rhinos in Uganda, the black and white, but they were all heavily poached and killed during the time of war, 1970s and 1980s. Then 1983 is when the last rhino was seen in Uganda. 1997, when our country, Uganda, was politically fine, it was agreed that was now the right time to bring back rhinos. Rhino Fund Uganda, a non-government organization, was formed up on behalf of the Ugandan government in partnership with Captain Joy Roy, who is the owner of this land. The area was formerly a cattle ranch. So by 2004, this area was chosen as a good feeding habitat for the white rhinos, or breeding habitat. Years back later, in 2001, 2 rhinos were brought in from Kenya, Sorio Ranch, taken to Entebbe Zoo, currently known as the Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center, purposely to educate and raise awareness to Ugandans as well visitors about the plight of rhinos. 2004, Ziwa was identified as a special place for breeding the white rhinos, whereby an electric fence was built covering the 70 square kilometers of land. 2005 it was done, then 4 rhinos were brought in from Kenya, 2 males and 2 females. A year later, in 2006, were joined up by a donation of 2 rhinos, all the way from Disney Animal Kingdom, Orlando Zoo, Florida, found in USA. A total of 6 rhinos settled well here in their new home. In 2009, we got our first baby rhino born. A mother coming from US, and then a father from Kenya. An international baby rhino was born. So we had to name the baby Obama. Currently, the total number is 48 white rhinos, all from the original 6. When we get up to a suitable number, we are going to start moving some of them to the second sanctuary that is going to be inside the national park, that is Murchison Falls. And later we carry on with the breeding. So splitting them apart is going to help us to avoid this case of inbreeding, because we only started with 3 males and 3 females. And out of the 3 males, each one has managed to be a father in different feathers. So the sub-adults that are coming up to be adults, the males, they are also soon starting to mate, to make babies, which is going to be inbreeding. So before that, we are going to split them apart, move some of them to the second sanctuary after the DNA test has been carried out.
We are celebrating success from the time the rhinos were reintroduced in the country. We got the opportunity to have them, and it has been proved that the sanctuary is a good breeding ground. And like you know, we've been all of us informed that now they are going to be introduced to national parks.
We've multiplied the population from 6 to 48 rhinos. So we've invited a few of our stakeholders, partners within the diplomatic corps. Today we hosted the British High Commissioner, and she will be coming back with other members of the European Union, just to witness firsthand and also testify to the rest of the world that the work that Uganda Wildlife Authority is doing, the work that the Uganda Tourism Board is doing, the work that Uganda is doing in terms of conservation and naturalization of some of these assets is actually world class.
You can either spend an overnight here.
Yeah.
Get up, we start the trekking at 8. Yeah, that is the best time you can really enjoy rhinos. They do so many activities in the morning hours.
I had Ziwa on my list for ages, and I'm so glad. What I can say certainly is it's not going to be my last time. I think I've been really impressed by 3 different things, many more. First of all, I've got a really good understanding of how wide the rangers' role is. I heard all about their training and that it's much more than security, that they're actually tracking the behaviours of the rhinos, they're liaising with the communities. I think my second takeaway is all the effort that goes in to build a really good relationship between the UA Rangers, the Rhino Sanctuary and the community. So basically making sure that the community are employed here, that rangers are picked for the community. So I think that connection with the community was my second takeaway. And I think my third takeaway, I was already convinced of this, but it shows me why conservation is really, really important. Not because we just end up with beautiful places like this and amazing species like the southern white rhinos that I've seen today.
The rhino is a very special animal. First of all, it's one of the big 5 that you can see. In the country, when rhinos got extinct, we no longer had the big 5 all complete. But as for now, we have all the big 5 in the country. Secondly, rhinos are good engineers in the ecosystem. In which way? Because they are feeding on grass, of which they are helping other animals that are feeding on grass to have a good feeding habitat. Because they eat a lot of grass, of about 65 to 70 kilograms every day. So that creates way for other animals, like antelopes, to feed on the grass. And as well, when rhinos are moving, they move in a single file or in one line when they are changing location. So in that way of walking in one line, they create trails, what you might call roads. So when they are creating trails, they are also giving a way for other animals to use those trails to the drinking areas where they drink water from, or to other feeding habitats. Since rhinos also like rolling in the mud, they use their horn to dig the ground to create more mud. When they roll in the mud, the ground becomes more deeper. Whenever it rains, they dig and roll in the mud. With time, it becomes a drinking pond for the rhinos and all other animals, and as well a wallowing pit or a rolling place for other animals like the warthogs. Warthogs also like rolling in the mud. So rhinos play a lot in the ecosystem. They also act as totems to some people in the country. Like in Uganda, we call it enkula. Rhino in Uganda is called enkula. So there are those people who are called senkula, or maybe nankula. Their names, when they see a rhino, is a very special totem for them.
This month we'll be celebrating one of the key milestones where we'll be naming 17 juveniles. We have 17 baby rhinos, and we're naming them, we're adopting them, we are friending them, and in so doing we'll be raising funds so that we can start to relocate some of our magnificent beasts. They can no longer fit here at Ziwa.
Rhinos always come to one place to defecate, and that place is called a midden. A midden is a place where rhinos come to defecate, and is a communication ground. How? When there is fresh dung, other rhinos can easily identify which other colleagues were here before by just a mere smelling of the dung. And no, this was Sharif, this was Michelle, this was Joseph. So if they have taken a long time not meeting each other, they will follow the tracks or the footprints until when they meet. So at the rhino dung is only made of grass. And the grass is not well digested or chewed. It has a lot of big particles. That shows they only have one stomach. Very low digestion takes place. Males, after defecating the dung, they scrap it with the hind legs to get the smell and droppings on their legs, such that when it's moving along the trail, is one way of marking the territory, alerting other males that, please, this is my territory. If you are strong enough, come for the fight.
So we're here really because we place an awful lot of importance on protecting nature and biodiversity. So Uganda's pretty special. I think it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I am biased as High Commissioner, I have to say. But even if we look at the evidence says Uganda is in the top 10 countries globally for biodiversity. And what we've seen today, all the work that's gone in to restore the rhino population is a big part of that. We've actually been long-term conservation partners over about 30 years with Uganda through Darwin projects, Darwin Initiative projects, illegal wildlife trading projects, through partnerships between, say, Kew Gardens and Cambridge and lots of different institutions here. So when it comes to conservation and nature, we're here for the long term. We also lean in very much on tourism. And actually, as the ED has said to me before, conservation and tourism are inseparable, and they really genuinely are if you do it right. So good tourism done well creates jobs, it creates growth, and we're supporting in lots of different ways on that. I am also here because I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back on the 22nd of September. One of the things with UWA and with UTB, the thing that really got me excited when they both came to speak to me with the Ministry of Tourism is the campaign to name a rhino. I've just seen phenomenal work done here to restore the southern white rhino population from extinction up to now. I think it's 48. Is that right, Executive Director? Yeah. So I think there's a real effort to try and make sure that that's funded in a sustainable way. And the Name the Rhino campaign is going to do that and also raise awareness about why this matters. Not just because it's a nice thing to do, because it's a really smart thing to do for Uganda's development.
We're also going to have rhinos in Chidepo National Park. We shall come to Murchison Falls. So we are having a 10-year strategy, rhino conservation strategy, that is being rolled out. And this is just one of the activities. And all this is in the name of conservation, developing tourism, and diversifying tourism products and services for Uganda. When we do this, we create more jobs. When we do this, we make sure we conserve for generations so that our children and grandchildren can see and enjoy these animals. And so I want to call upon all Ugandans. Conservation, tourism is everybody's business.
They actually now need a bigger home, and we're moving them to a Jai reserve. But that costs money, it costs time, and it will take a lot of resource. And that's why we're calling upon all Ugandans and all friends and lovers of Uganda, of which, you know, the British High Commission has shown their commitment today. We're calling all our partners together to fundraise through the Name a Rhino campaign. And on the 22nd, World Rhino Day, we'll be celebrating here in Ziwa. We'll be, of course, graced by the presence of His Excellency, who himself is also another champion of all the work we do in conservation. And so we're looking forward to welcoming all of Uganda, the whole globe really, on the 22nd. To name a rhino. Come to Ziwa, first of all. Come to the ceremony that's on World Rhino Day on the 22nd of September. See this for yourself. Honestly, it's something that you have to see firsthand. I'm certainly going to be back as a visitor, but also more importantly, I say come to Uganda
There is the top 10% of biodiversity, incredibly friendly people, and I'm really glad with the dialogue we've got with UTB about looking at what gets in the way, how can we work on those things, and how can we make sure that we get even more tourists to this rather beautiful country. So to everyone that's watching, come and see for yourselves.
Name Rhino, Save a Rhino campaign is important for the country, for the tourism sector as a whole, and we've given you the history as to why we think this is very important. As you know that towards the late 70s, specifically between 82 and 83, the rhinos were declared extinct in Uganda, both the black rhino and the white rhino, because of poaching, the insecurity then, the political instability then. And the reason we are celebrating today is now the story has changed. Since the NRM government came to power, they took conservation as one of the areas to focus on, and now we are discussing 50 rhinos, naming 17 babies, and we believe the story will continue growing. So I think this is very important for we as a country, from extinction to multiplication. I think this is very important.
The reason as to why we still want rhinos to be in a second sanctuary, it's because we want them to multiply very fast. Because if you put like, let's say 20 rhinos in Murchison Falls as a park, it's a very big park. The breeding rate is going to be too low, whereby it takes time for the male rhino to find a female on heat. But if they are in a sanctuary, that is so easy for the dominant male to find a female that is ready for mating. And the breeding can go on faster. Just like here at Ziwa, the breeding rate from one baby to another, the interval is about 2 years. But in other parts of Africa, it takes around 3 to 4 years, you can see, because they are staying in the parks, not in the sanctuaries. Rhinos that are in a sanctuary and they have a good habitat, they can breed very fast compared to the ones that are in the national park, because the area is too big. The male has to look for a female by walking for a long distance. Might walk for a lot of days and maybe find when the heat period is finished. And then the male has to wait again. Maybe when the female will get ready on heat again.
The naming is part of the relocation plan. At the moment, we are working on the preparatory activities for Uganda Wildlife Reserve. We are working on the fence because, as you know, the security of the rhinos is paramount. We are working on an intelligence fence. We are building ranger outposts. We are building accommodation. We are manipulating the environment to make sure that the rhinos have a suitable environment and ecosystem where they are going to be able to thrive. We are doing this as a way of expanding tourism products and services, but also making sure that we have our genetics sorted out so that we don't have any breeding here at Ziwa. That's why we're trying to take away some of the animals so that we can have good genetic diversity that is being assured in terms of conserving our rhinos. So the relocation is not going to be immediate, but rather after the preparation of Uganda Wildlife Reserve, which is already underway. The contractors are on site in Uganda. They have started building the fence. They are working on the accommodation. They are working on the ranger accommodation. They are working on water reticulation, because, as you know, rhinos have to go into an ecosystem which is already manipulated with low grass where they can survive, but also they wallow in the mud, so they need water to drink and make wallows to be able to survive as a cooling effect. So the work is going on the ground, after which we shall do the translocation. We have given ourselves up to December this year to be able to finish the critical infrastructure that requires to be in place for us to be able to move the rhinos. So we think and believe that as soon as the infrastructure is finished in December, the animals will move to Uganda. And we think this can be the Christmas gift for Ugandans and non-Ugandans who would like to go and see the rhinos in their natural environment.
We have a couple of events. It's a plethora of events until the 22nd. This is just the beginning of what we're calling World Tourism Month, of which naming the rhino is one of many ceremonies. On 27th, we have World Tourism Day in Arua. So we are inviting all our partners in different groups, different segments to support what we're calling, Tourism Month.
You talked to me about the work that's going on, even with schools. How do you raise awareness at a really young age that this is really important? So it's great to meet the children from Blessing School today who are obviously very switched on. I think that's important. The second, you know, we're all pragmatists. There is pressure on land, there's pressure from the demographics, and people often say, well, why do rhinos get more coverage than people? And I'd encourage everyone, I think, raising awareness that actually looking after the animal population you've got and the rhino population, protecting them from poaching, protecting the land, these 70 kilometres squared that you've got, also helps the economy. It means ultimately more jobs, more visitors, more money in people's pockets. So I think continuing to raise awareness with the community and the wider population. I think the third thing always that's on my mind, and that's where we want to come in as well, is how can we increase the tourism volumes? And I know that's something that the UTB have got on their mind. Yeah. GDP is about 6.6%, or it's about tourism is about 6.6%, I think, of GDP. Yeah. UK's in your top visitors, but I'd love it to be even more. There are things that get in the way, and we can work on some of those things together.
Ziwa is not only the home of white rhinos, it is also a habitat for so many wildlife. We have a group of antelopes like bushback, waterback, Uganda kob, Stetunga, redback, grey common duiker. We have recently introduced in the giraffes, zebras, and Jackson hartebeests. We also have nocturnal animals like leopard, genet cat, African civet. We have leopard, jackal, we have mongoose, honey badger, and so many. With also around 340 species of birds, with a special bird called a shoebill that is not often seen everywhere.
The work is not yet done. We are starting. So this is it. We're starting, and we need you, the members of the Fourth Estate, the press of Uganda. This is as much of your challenge and mandate as it is mine. So I find it interesting when you say you're mandated too. You are equally mandated, sir, as the press. Yes, you are mandated to sell this country.
Inside Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, this is a place that also has accommodations. If you want to track a rhino early in the morning hours, you can book a lodge. We have two separate lodges. We have Ziwa and then Amuka Lodge. So at Ziwa Lodge is found at the reception or the headquarters of the sanctuary. So when you reach here and you have made a booking, we have staffs that can actually look after you, take you to where you're supposed to be. We also have the chalets. Those are very nice lodges with a swimming pool. There's also a campsite for the campers that would like to camp. That also has a very nice view for animals, like in the evening hours. Most of the antelopes do come on the compound. So if you book at Ziwa Rhino Lodge, you'll get a good experience of seeing so many wildlife.
Omuntu wa wansi really is also a Ugandan. At the end of the day, when you scratch everything, scratch the surface away, we are all red-blooded Ugandans, born and bred here. So the business of building Uganda, the business of minding Uganda is ours. So the work personally that I do is not even just for me, it's legacy work. It's so that my children can come to Ziwa Sanctuary when I'm long gone, and my grandchildren. We are one of the few places on earth that can boast of having the big five.
We are now geared for 22nd to name. So what we want are people to come, conservation partners, willing people, therapists, to pick at least $10,000 and name a rhino. We shall all converge here. We expect the president to be around and a number of conservation partners, tourism players, but also use it as a launch pad, as a marketing launch pad for the whole of the country. We want to showcase the uniqueness of what Uganda has. We want to project other things that are inclusive of the habitat that we treasure as a country. So we are here today to prop up that campaign. We are here to show the world that we are gifted. We are here to tell them that come 22nd, we are as a country going to take it a notch higher, give it another avenue, showcase what we have, give conservation a chance to thrive, but also relocate these species back indoctrinate to the wild.
Thank you for listening. Welcome to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary.